Well, hey, if you don't know me, I'm Cade, creator of Collaborate Worship, and today I'm joined by James Wasem with Great Church Sound. It's always an honor to collaborate with James, so let's jump right in. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can increase your confidence behind the mixer. When you're first getting started, it's all very intimidating, and even after you've been at it for a while, those insecurities tend to keep popping up. So James, have you ever been insecure about your mixing skills?
Maybe all the time. No, that's not entirely true, but sometimes it feels that way. And honestly, even though I've been doing live sound for a long time now, I still get intimidated and insecure about stuff, especially when I step behind a new piece of equipment. If I'm asked to mix behind a new digital mixing console that I haven't had exposure to before and have to learn some workflow, especially in a limited period of time, or if I have to train someone on a piece of gear that I really don't have a lot of experience using myself, that can be super, super intimidating, even as someone with a lot of experience. So I get to experience that, not every day, but regularly enough to be humbled by it.
You know, that actually brings up some of my own insecurities, because I was running sound for an event a couple weeks ago. They had the Soundcraft mixer. I've never used it before. It's one of the popular ones that's out there. I'm used to the X32 though, clearly, because that's what is in most of my YouTube videos. I even had my X32 in my car because I wanted to use it. And I normally would use it for these videos, but the way they had set up the room was different than normal. And so they had the Soundcraft digital snake that they were using, and the mixer was in the back of the room. I didn't bring a digital snake for the X32, so I had to use a Soundcraft mixer. And I swear, it was so freaking hard. It's just like, everything's the same. I know how to do EQ, but like, it's just all slightly different. It's like going from a PC to a Mac, and I'm just sitting there like my head's spinning. I only got 2 hours to figure this thing out. Man, it was rough, but we made it.
I can empathize with that completely.
Nice. Well, hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, would you just let us know with a like, because that helps this video get out to all of your fellow sound techs as well, so it can help them. All right, let's continue this discussion. How do you think that we can overcome these insecurities?
You know, every time I get in a situation like that, kind of like you described, I mean, that's just kind of a classic situation. You know what you're doing. You've done it 1,000 times, but now you're doing it behind a piece of equipment that you've never used or have used very little. Or it could be just a different workflow. Maybe you're even mixing a different genre of music for worship or a special event, and you're using one or two more channels than you're used to looking at on the console. I mean, there's any number of scenarios. What I always remind myself of to try to calm myself down, come back off that edge, is to really trust the fundamentals that I have learned and that I have practiced and that I know that I know. And it doesn't even have to be that many fundamentals. It's as simple as, have I set microphones in a good spot? Did I make sure and check every channel for proper gain? Do I know where the mute buttons are? It's amazing how that one piece of information and being confident with that will allow you to get through the rest of the event. And just knowing that, you know, you can do a lot with the basics. And even if it's a new piece of equipment that you're not used to, it's learning at least where the mute buttons are and some basic EQ settings and how to access your fader groups if it's a digital board and different layers, or just getting a good visual familiarity with your workflow and showing up early and doing sound check, being prepared as much as you can ahead of time. Those are all things that help me be more secure in how I approach a mix and a situation. So that's my biggest tip, is to just try to relax, calm down, and focus on the fundamentals.
You know, that's good advice, and that's exactly what I did a couple weekends ago when I had that situation. One of my biggest struggles that day was I needed to EQ the room real quick, because I always do that. We were at a new venue, and I know my process with the X32, but on the Soundcraft mixer, I don't even know if it had an RTA. If it did, I couldn't figure out where it was or how to access it. So I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And then I remembered I have an RTA app on my phone, which isn't entirely accurate, but it's better than having nothing. So I pulled out my phone and found those terrible frequencies in the room and fixed it up real quick and kept moving forward. But man, there was a little moment though of like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I only got 2 hours to figure this out. Where is the RTA?
Yeah.
Your good friend Google, that'll help too, but maybe you can help me out. Have you ever used that Soundcraft mixer that a lot of churches have, and does it have an RTA?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of features on these consoles, and I get confused as to which console has which feature, and when you're navigating between them. And so, yeah, Google is your friend. And at the end of the day, especially if you're pressed for time, sometimes it's best just to forget about the fancy stuff that you're kind of used to and go back to the, treat it like analog days. If you've ever mixed on an analog mixer and you're coming back from digital, just go full analog with your techniques, and that'll get you, honestly, most of the way there. We don't have to worry about getting super fancy. And I love that you pulled out the RTI on your phone. It doesn't have to be audiophile quality. I think we just have to get it most of the way there and release that tension of it has to be perfect every time.
Yep, for sure. So whenever you talk about, going back to the basics, what are, like, say, your top 3 basics that you're going to go back to?
Well, I kind of mentioned them a little bit earlier, but gain and getting that sorted out. A lot of gain actually has to do with mic placement as well. So if you're there at a sound check, it's testing every single microphone that you have in a live setting, especially if you've got acoustic drums, or if you're close miking an acoustic guitar, if you're miking guitar amplifiers, and especially vocal mics. Sometimes you need to do a little demonstration for your vocalists to make sure they hold the mic in the right spot. And then setting your gain appropriately for those locations. It's all about garbage in, garbage out. If you don't get it right at the source, you're going to have a hard time fixing it later. The next thing would be just basically paying attention to the simple EQ stuff. First thing coming into the console, we've talked about this a lot with EQ, but it's that high pass filter or low cut filter. You're basically rolling off a lot of low frequencies on almost every input. And especially if you've got a smaller sound system, your system can't really reproduce a lot of those low, deep bass frequencies unless you've got like a bass guitar and a kick drum and a subwoofer. So it can help clear up a mix very, very quickly if you just roll off some of the lows. And then just modest EQ. Try to cut rather than boost. I mean, those kinds of fundamental concepts, they sound simple when I say them, but the effect on the mix can be super profound, just taking care of those 3 things.
I want to jump in here for just a few seconds to tell you about Church Sound Made Simple. This stress-free online training will help you create a team where everybody is confident in their mixing skills and the results are consistent each week. You can get access today by visiting churchsoundmadesimple.com. And James, you've been through the entire training, all of Church Sound Made Simple, and what are your thoughts about it?
Oh, I love it. I wish I had created the course. It's a great training course, especially for people that have never been exposed to live sound before. They want to help, they want to volunteer, but they don't know the first thing about it, or they know a little bit, but maybe they think they know more than they do, and they need to start at the basic level, and that's okay, because I think you do a great job introducing everyone, regardless of where they've been, with the fundamentals that we were just talking about. And it's structured in such a way that it's super easy to digest and get through each module in a very easy and orderly way. It's not just like the shotgun style. It's just like, you got to know this, and this. Okay, good luck. No, it's like, okay, we're working on this, and then we'll get to this a little bit later, but right now we're working on this. You figure that out, you get most of that dialed in, then it's time to move on to the next thing. And yeah, I'm very, very impressed with the teaching style and the layout of the course. I think that makes a big difference. It's not always what you say, it's how you say it. And I think Church Sound Made Simple is phenomenal in that respect.
Well, thanks, man. One last question before we go. I believe there's lots of folks out there who feel inadequate, even though their skills are really solid and they're really good at what they do. What do you think causes this, and how do we overcome it?
I think some of it is misplaced expectations or our assumption of expectations. So everybody's going to, look at us and point the finger at us and just run us through the gauntlet if we screw something up. And in a lot of places and most churches and leadership teams, it's a very gracious environment. It should be, hopefully, at your church. And I've been blessed with a lot of exceptional worship leaders and pastors and leadership teams that have really done a good job of helping newbies like I once was and other team members through that process of learning. And we all make mistakes. The musicians on stage make mistakes. The pastor makes mistakes. Everybody can make mistakes, but it's about that place of grace and service. And if we focus on that and stop being so, self-focused and self, kind of just conscious of, oh, I screwed this up, I screwed that up, everybody's going to hear it. It's like, chances are nobody even knows where your screw ups are. You're the one that knows. And if you can do a little bit of fake it till you make it, that'll get you through a lot of the trials. But focus on the fundamentals, and I think that really takes care of a lot of the insecurities.
Yeah, man. The only thing I would add to that is just to see your mistakes from the right perspective. Because you can either see mistakes as like a failure or, just really beat yourself up over them, or just see them as learning experience. Like, I made this mistake this time. Here's how I'm going to fix it next time and just move forward. Hey, I learned something new today. That's awesome. That just takes all the weight off of the mistakes you make. And also, we all make mistakes. You're going to make some more mistakes. Just learn from them. That's life,
Yep. I've made a mistake on every single mix. So, and I intend to make more mistakes because they are great learning opportunities, like you said. And I'm not afraid of those mistakes anymore, like I once was. I was horrified of making mistakes. I needed it to be perfect. I have that kind of personality that's just like, I got to put everything together just perfect. I got to present everything just right. I need to be perfect. And that's not live sound. Sorry. It's a creative environment. It is a technical skill, but it's also a very subjective and creative environment. And it's important to give yourself grace in that process of developing the skill and constantly practicing. And that means that we're not ever going to be perfect.
Well, thanks, James, for sharing your wisdom on this topic. If you want to hear James and I talk about some other topics regarding church sound, just click the video on your screen or click the link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to see future videos like this, and we'll see you next time.